So I will give you one paragraph that is very important from the examination perspective. For true or false statements, it is going to be very important. So let me put that statement before you. Very important statement. Write it somewhere in your books. Everyone has to write this statement. Very important statement for true or false statements. So this is what the statement is looking like. So if I read this statement, if law or regulation prescribes in sufficient detail the terms of the audit engagement, the auditor need not record them in a written agreement, except for the fact that such law or regulation applies and that management acknowledges and understands its responsibilities. So let us try to understand now what they are trying to say. See, the meaning of this sentence is, if law or regulation, if law or regulation already prescribes, already mentions in sufficient detail the terms of the audit engagement. In which kind of audit, law or regulation will explain in a sufficient detail the terms of engagement? In the case of statutory audit or non-statutory audit, where the law will prescribe in sufficient detail the terms of engagement. In which kind of audit the terms and conditions will be prescribed in the law itself? Where? In the case of statutory audit. So they are referring to statutory audit. Till here, from here till here, they are referring to statutory audit. So in the case of statutory audit, law or regulation will already prescribe in sufficient detail what are the terms of audit engagement. In such case, the auditor need not record them in a written agreement. Which means in the case of statutory audit, like take for example company audit. In the case of company audit, what and all are terms and conditions of the audit, what and all are terms of the agreement are already given under Companies Act. We will see it in the next chapter from section 139 till section 148. These sections are talking about terms and conditions relating to audit. So in case of company audit, law has already prescribed in sufficient detail the terms of engagement. In this case, the auditor need not once again record them in a written agreement. They are referring to engagement letter. So if the law has already explained in detailed manner the terms and conditions of the audit, the auditor need not once again write them in the engagement letter. You need not write once again in a detailed manner what are the responsibilities of auditor, what are the responsibilities of management. You need not write them once again in a detailed manner in the engagement letter. Why? Law has already prescribed. Everybody understood till here? So if you read this sentence till here, if law or regulation prescribes in sufficient detail the terms of the audit engagement, the auditor need not record them once again in the written agreement, which is engagement letter. Written agreement means what here? Engagement letter. So in the case of statutory audit, since the terms and conditions are already prescribed in the law, you need not once again write them in engagement letter. However, the statement did not end there. They say one more point, except for the fact that such law or regulation applies and the management acknowledges, accepts and understands its responsibilities. So which means that in the engagement letter, you will not write in a detailed manner what are rights and duties, but instead what you will do is you will refer to the respective section of the respective act which is talking about the responsibilities of the management and auditor. Which means that, assume I am conducting company audit, I am drafting engagement letter. So first I will write title, then I will write addressee, then I will write objective and scope. Then after that paragraph, if when I write rights of auditor, what I will do is I will not write in a detailed manner. I will not copy paste that all paragraph of rights of auditor here. But instead what I will do is I will simply mention one line. Our rights are mentioned under section 141 of the Companies Act. Those rights we will follow here. Those rights we will apply here. That's all. So like what I'm trying to say here is, when you go to the standard, like previously when we have downloaded, here we have seen no. So here when we have seen the standard, SA 210, in the appendix, what they are doing, in the management responsibility, in the auditor's responsibilities, they have given some lengthy paragraphs or not. In the case of non-statutory audit, we'll copy paste that lengthy paragraph. But in the case of statutory audit, I will not copy paste that entire lengthy paragraph. So let me show you that what I am referring to. So if you go back to the appendix once again, yeah. So this is the appendix, no? So generally under responsibilities of auditor paragraph, we should copy all this content and paste it. But in the case of statutory audit, since the responsibilities of auditor are already mentioned under respective law, so what I will do in the case of statutory audit is, I will give the heading rights of the auditor, but I will not write all these paragraphs here, just I will refer to the section number. Similarly, rights of management will be there. In case of company audit, rights of management are already given under respective sections of the Companies Act. Here I will not copy the paragraph and paste it here. Just I will give respective section number of the Companies Act. In that act, your responsibilities are there. This is what the meaning of that sentence. So if you read it once again, the entire sentence, very important guys. Why I am saying this is, there is a high chance of testing this in the examination. So if law or regulation prescribes in sufficient detail the terms of the audit engagement, the auditor need not record them in a written agreement. The auditor need not record them in a written agreement. You need not write it once again in the written agreement. What you need not write? The terms and conditions which are already decided under law. But instead what you have to do, except that, you have to mention a fact in that engagement letter giving reference to respective law or regulation which applies here, and ask the management to confirm it. Don't write the detailed responsibilities and detailed provisions. Just give the reference to the respective section number and ask the management to confirm the same. That's all. See, why I am insisting you on this sentence is, why? Because this statement is highly important for the examination, the true or false statements, and they might play with you like anything when it comes to this statement. So what they might ask you is, listen carefully. They might ask a true or false statement like this. Please listen carefully, please listen cautiously, and you have to give me the answer. So what is that question? If law or regulation prescribes in sufficient detail the terms of audit engagement, the auditor need to record them in a written agreement. This is what the statement given, true or false. If the law or regulation prescribes in sufficient detail the terms of the audit engagement, the auditor need to record them in the writing. That means I have removed this not and I have posed it as a question. So now you tell me, what will be the given statement? Is it true or false? It will be false. Why? Because if the law or regulation prescribes in sufficient detail, the auditor need not record. But what is the question I have given? Need to record. Clear? Or they might ask you a true or false statements even like this also. If law or regulation prescribes in, if law or regulation does not prescribe in sufficient detail the terms of the audit engagement, then the auditor need to record them in a written agreement. Hope you have paid the attention. Once again I am repeating, if law or regulation does not prescribe in sufficient detail the terms of audit engagement, the auditor need to record them in a written agreement. Do agree with that? Yes, this statement is true. Why? Because I have made the changes at two places. I told if the law or regulation doesn't prescribe, then you have to record them in writing. Yes. What is the standard saying? If law prescribes in sufficient detail, then don't record it. But what is the question I have told? If the law doesn't prescribe in sufficient detail the terms of the audit engagement, then you have to record them in a written agreement. Yes, this statement will be true. Understood? So like this, they can play with you in the examination when it comes to this statement. So that's why I made you write it. That's why what I have done, I made you write it so you can understand the gist of the statement and write the answer in a correct way in the examination. Clear everybody? So this is what regarding this engagement letter and the contents of the engagement letter. Clear everybody? So with this we are done with the engagement letter and terms of the engagement letter. Understood? Comfortable everybody?